I'm Mike Black with Terry Black's Barbecue, and this is my twin brother, Mark.
And today, are you gonna say Mark that time? Okay, he introduces me. For us, this is a perfect combination. I mean, steak and potatoes, it's pretty basic. That's kind of what we do. We don't overcomplicate it.
The baked potato salad that we're gonna be making today it's a family recipe. It's a sweet recipe, which is what he and I prefer.
Everybody can do it, and most everybody will like it.
I'm Mike Black with Terry Black's Barbecue, and this is my twin brother, Mark.
And today we're gonna show you how to make steaks and baked potato salad.
Let's get started.
Today we're gonna start with the steaks. What we got here is 2 prime ribeyes. Nice and thick. You might wanna get them a little bit thinner if you like your meat a little bit more well done. When you go to a store, I suggest getting prime meat. Don't just take the word for it if it's labeled prime though. Really look at the steak. What I like on a ribeye is I like to look at it and see what I call this eyelash piece. That'll be the most tender cut. That'll be the most flavorful. That's what I'm looking for, as well as the marbling on the inside there. Pretty basic, just like at the barbecue restaurant. We like to stick with the meat, you know? We don't want to put a bunch of fancy stuff on it. The rub we use at the restaurant, we got a seasoned salt, we got kosher salt, and we got black pepper. When I'm cooking a steak though, I like to just use some Lowry's mainly, the seasoned salt to start it off. And then when it's nice and thick, after we cut it up, we can use the pepper and the kosher salt to kind of finish it on the inside if it needs a little bit more. I'm not the type of guy to go light. I'm gonna get a nice coat on there. And obviously it's a nice thick steak, so it can handle it. In a perfect world, you'd probably season this a couple hours in advance. Try to get as much salt on there to get the water out of the meat. But, you know, if you can't, it's a good cut of meat. It'll be just fine. Now that the steaks are all seasoned, let's get them in the pan. We got our pan up to temp. I added a little olive oil and we're ready to add our steaks. These steaks are a pretty big cut of meat, so I don't want to get them too hot at the beginning and really burn up the outside before they're able to cook a ways through. So I'm gonna leave the top open. When I really want to sear them up and get them done, I'll shut it down to finish them off. Basically, I'm using this carbon steel pan instead of putting it on the grill so that we can get a nice sear on the outside. These have been on a couple minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and flip them over and check them out. So right now, they don't got a big char on it. So I'm gonna shut this thing down, get it real hot in there, and really try to get a sear on each side of the meat. We've had these steaks on about 7 or 8 minutes. About halfway through, we gave it a flip. Checking on the outside, this carbon steel pan gave it that nice sear that we want. These things are about done. We're gonna let them rest, probably about 8 to 10 minutes while Mike's making the baked potato salad, and then we'll cut into them.
Now that Mark has showed you how to make the perfect steak, it's time to get started on our baked potato salad. So we're gonna start here, dicing up some of the green onions really fine. And for this recipe, we're gonna use about a 1/4 cup. That looks about right. We'll continue chopping things up very finely. And we're gonna take this green onion and place it in the bowl and continue on to our fresh dill. It really makes the flavors pop. We'll do about the same amount, about a 1/4 cup, and then move on to our fresh parsley. Parsley is gonna add another depth of flavor, freshness, and it's gonna look beautiful in our baked potato salad. We're gonna move on to our jalapeno. We're gonna dice it up finely as well. If you like it a little spicier, you can add more. Some people like to take the seeds out. I don't. I like to leave it in there. At home, you can use the fresh jalapenos or pickled jalapenos. I prefer the pickled jalapenos, but really whatever you have on hand. Now that we've got that all chopped up, we're gonna move on to our mayonnaise. So this is a mayonnaise heavy recipe. Then you're gonna move on to a little bit of pickle juice, followed by a little bit of apple cider vinegar. I love apple cider vinegar, and a little mustard as well, followed by sugar. Now this is a sweet recipe. If you're not such a big fan of sweetness, then you can cut this in half or scale it down just a little bit. Followed by black pepper, and that's just a table grind. And then we're gonna mix all this up for a batch of yummy goodness. And as you can see, all those beautiful colors in there. It's very fresh and vibrant. And there you have our baked potato salad dressing. Very simple, very easy. And you've got your beautiful potatoes here, ready to mix with your dressing. We use a russet potato. We dice it up to about a 1/2 inch. Bake it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 35 minutes. Just a little bit of salt and pepper, oil so it doesn't stick to the pan. Let's give that a good mix. And it is looking absolutely fantastic.
All right, so while Mike was whipping up the baked potato salad, we let these ribeyes rest about 10 minutes. What I like to do on these is cut them a little bit different. There's almost kind of 2 muscles of meat on the ribeye. Like I said earlier, there's this eyelash and then there's this more hearty part. So I actually like to separate them before I start trimming them. so I can cut exactly against the grain. And I'll take out some of that fat. That fat's good to toss back in that carbon steel pan, kind of sear it up. You spread it on bread or anything like that. Cut it to the thickness you want. I'd say about 1/3 of an inch, maybe 1/2 an inch if you want it a little bit hardier. You can tell as we cut, you're kind of cutting against the grain, super tender. I mean, you can pull it apart for a steak. I mean, it's gonna be nice and tender and melt in your mouth.
While Mark's finishing up slicing the steaks, I'm gonna portion out 2 servings of potato salad.
So now that the meat's all sliced up, kind of put it on the plate there. We got the finishing seasonings over here, which is just kosher salt and black pepper. So I like to leave that at the end. That's really just for taste.
It's time to dig in and try it out.
Let's do it.
Potato salad tastes perfect. There's a freshness to it from the dill and the parsley. Just absolutely excellent.
I like how it's a little crisp. It's not too mushy.
Yeah, steak's got a great char on it. Perfectly cooked. Flavor's excellent.
Real even with that carbon steel pan. I like it better than cooking it on the grates.
Yeah, meat, salt, pepper, fire. That's what we do best. This is one of our favorite meals. Mike Black from Terry Black's Barbecue here with my twin brother Mark. Thanks for having us today. We're happy to cook with you.
Excellent.